In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways you can raise money for your amazing business idea for Africa. And I'm really going to look at it from the perspective of somebody who is in the diaspora. So this is for Africans in the diaspora who want to build business in Africa and have an amazing idea, but they need some cash. Hey, what's up? My name is Aris. Welcome to Diaspora Achievers. In this channel, I take the African diaspora on a journey to building businesses that impact Africa, change the African narrative, and helps you attain true freedom. So if you're new here, I want to be part of this journey. Here are your first 2 steps. The first one is to click on the button below, subscribe, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you don't ever miss any new video that will help you build your business. And number 2, you want to make sure you take a look at the description box below this video where there's going to be a bunch of good resources for you to help you along your journey. All right, so let's get into it. Yesterday, I just wrapped up my first ever summit, which was really for Africans in the diaspora who want to transition from their good job, their career and everything in the West to starting and building a business in Africa or with Africa. So essentially that was the value proposition of the summit. The most important thing to remember is the way I went about it was I invited those who have made that transition. So you had a few folks who were, professionals in the West. They essentially switched, transitioned into entrepreneurship in Africa. So the whole purpose of the summit was really to help us understand how we can make it happen. Because a lot of us, you may have a good job, you may be comfortable in the West, and then you're kind of struggling, but you're kind of worried or you fear that transition. How's that going to happen? So I invited about 20 of those in different industries from different countries in Europe who left Europe, North America, and moved back in different countries in the continent and in different industries to share about how they were able to deal with that transition and successfully make that transition, so how to prepare and all that good stuff. So during that summit, one of the questions that was asked to me a lot was, I have this amazing idea, how do I go about raising money? I need to raise money to really deliver that business idea. And then here's my question. Before I share with you the ways you can go out and raise money for your amazing business idea, I really want you to ask yourself 6 questions. Those 6 questions are really, really crucial for you to make sure that you don't waste time, money, hope, and lose your momentum when you go out and look for funding. And really those questions come from the perspective of, if somebody were to come to me and ask me for some money for their business idea, how would they approach it? And that actually had happened because, you may be back home, you may have family, friends, or you may know some people even abroad who have an amazing idea, and they come to you and say, hey, I need X amount of dollars for my business idea. Are you able, to give it to me? So that's a perspective I'm looking at. So if you were to come to me, how would you approach? And in my mind, that's a really great way to look at it, because if you go into somebody that you know or don't know, you have to look at it from the perspective and wonder, am I solid enough? Am I making a good case? So the number 1 question that I would ask you is, ask yourself, why do you want or what do you need outside money? Is it because you don't have money? Is it because you want more money? Or is it, I need to get a sense of why. The clearer your answer is, the more comfortable or confident I'll be willing to listen to you. And here's an example just to make it 100% practical for you to understand what I mean by that in my own case. So my vision for my farm that I started and that I have back home is that I want to put together agriculture integrated system. So what I mean by that is I'm working on having, pigs, poultry, fish farm, plantains, cassava, everything in the whole space. And I want to own the entire value chain, from harvesting plantain all the way down to processing and distribution. So that's my goal. But the thing is, I did not go out and say, hey, I need $10 million or $1 million or whatever. Please come in and invest in my farm, because I know I was just getting started. I knew that in order for me to be credible, even for myself to have a confidence level, I needed to get started from small and grow from that. So essentially, I'm thinking, just like anything in life, you need to start small. You're not going to say, hey, I want to eat this big elephant. You start from small pieces and grow from there. You build momentum, you get more comfortable and everything. So that's why I did. I'm starting really small, but I know what my goal is. And then the second question that I want you to ask yourself is, if you don't get money for that amazing business idea that you have, what is going to happen? Are you going to find different ways to go out and deliver that idea? Is that idea going to die? And let me tell you this, if you say to me that your idea is going to die, what I'm going to remember is that you want me, or you want the person to essentially finance your dream. You have nothing on the table, you have no commitment, nothing whatsoever, but you're just looking for essentially somebody to finance your dream. Which is a good segue to my third question, which is how much skin you have in the game. What I mean by that is, how committed are you? Have you done any research? Do you have some savings that you put on the table? Do you have land or any assets? So in my case, I could, if I needed a partner or something, I could say, hey, I have my own land, I can put it on the table. This is how much how committed I am, because I have skin in the game, versus saying, I have nothing, I only have an idea. I hope that you can help me finance it. I hope that makes sense. And then the next question, number 4, is a question that kind of frustrates me sometimes. So if somebody comes to me and say, hey, I need money for my idea, and I ask them, how much money you need? And they said, oh, I don't know. Or if I ask them, why do you need money for? All they're saying is, hey, it's super expensive, it's gonna require a lot of money. How much money? They haven't even done the research to figure out how much money they need, which leads to the 5th question that you should ask yourself before going and raising money for your business in Africa is, how is that money going to be spent? Right? Are you clear in terms of, if I get 10 grand, 100 grand, here's how I'm going to spend it, and this is sort of the return that I'm hoping for, not in terms of investment, but more so I'm going to hire somebody or whatever the case may be, right? Just to show that you've done some research and you're really committed, right? So how much money you need and how's that money going to be spent? And the last question is, what do you really need? Do you need money, or are you willing to give up control of your business or your idea, because it's not a business at this point? Let's just say if it turns out big. You know what I'm saying? If you want a partner, are you willing to say, hey, we're going to go 50-50 on this because you gave me the money? How are you going to essentially value your idea, value your business from that perspective? So you have to think about that. In a nutshell, all I'm saying is, if you don't have money today, it might be because your idea is too big. Not the idea, where you're at is not the right sequence, right? You have a big idea, which is great, but you need to start small. Either make some money, get some traction or anything like that, and then gradually get to where you're trying to get to. But you're not gonna, come with nothing at all. I just say, I need 5 grand, 50 grand, $1 million, whatever the case may be, just because of your idea. Because in reality, when you're looking for an investor, what is that investor going to invest into? Are they going to invest in an idea? It's so easy. Anybody and everybody can come up with an idea. But really what you're saying is, they want that person to invest in you. So if they invest in you because your idea is great, then you need to show a track record that shows that you can deliver, you've been delivering and all that stuff. So if you don't have a business because it's just an idea, if you don't have a track record that you're trustworthy, what is that investor going to invest in? In your dream or in your wish? I don't think it's fair for that person. Now let's get into the 5 different ways you can go out and raise capital or money for your amazing business idea. First and foremost, I think that's where you should start: savings. Right? You should have some savings, at least just to show that you're committed. Number 2, I would say your retirement plan. Especially if you're in the West, there's probably retirement plans in your country. If you've been a full-time, or if you don't have a retirement plan, at least you should have savings, because otherwise, it's kind of shaky. Anyways, so saving, retirement plan, those will be your ways to go about it. There are ways to get money out of retirement plans depending on where you are in the world. I mean, that's part of the system. You may have to pay it back, but at least you should have ways to go about it. Number 3, if you're really serious and committed about your business idea and you own a property, you own a house or a condo or an apartment or whatever, you can refinance it, pull money out of the equity out of your house and use some of that money, if not all of that money for your business idea. If you're not willing to do that, I would question myself and wonder, how committed are you, right? If you're not even willing to put your own investment and yourself out there, then why should I put my money in your business, right? And obviously you can go out and seek for friends and family, angel investors, people that know you, that trust you and all that stuff. In general, I would not want to do that unless unless it's something at stake, right? Unless I'm bringing something to the table, I say, hey, I'm bringing X amount of dollars or X asset or my sweat equity, which is actually something that practical or something that, research or whatever the case may be, right? And then you bring that in. But if it's just a matter of, hey, you're my best friend or you're my brother, you're my sister, I don't think that's enough, especially on the business side. I don't think you should mix that up. And the last piece that I want to add is essentially you can get a bank loan. I wouldn't even suggest looking at credit cards or getting money. That's, in my mind, that's just a ridiculous idea, right? Getting yourself in debt and all that stuff. But I would say get a bank loan, personal loan, for example, right? Maybe you can get that at a low rate, or if you really, really believe that that's the way you go, you should go ahead and do that. So those are my 5 ideas in terms of how you can quite easily get funding or raise money for your amazing business idea for the continent. But first and foremost, and more importantly, I would say, make sure that you start small, right? We all want to take over the world. We all want to take over Africa and all that stuff, but you really have to start small, do a work back schedule, which essentially look at what your goal is, what actions you need to reach that goal, and where you are today. Is there any skill set that you need to have? Is there any connections? Like what exactly you need? Like break down that big goal into small action instead of just looking for the easy way out. Because actually, what if they give you money? What if you get $1 million? Are you able to manage that kind of money efficiently? If you are, great. I don't know if I can, use $5-10 million, from nothing, essentially, if it's given to me. Okay, so now that we know that it's really important for you to have a track record if you have no money, or at least show a sign of commitment, my question of the day for you is, which one of those strategies make more sense to you, or which one you think I had forgotten that you want to add with me or share, essentially? So put it in the comment below this video, and let's talk about it. Let's figure it out, because there's a lot of questions around I need money, but when we dive into the details, it may not be as straightforward as simply asking for money. Peace.